So, over the last couple of weeks over Christmas, I got in contact with a couple of different companies. One of them is T238. So T238 are I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, a Chinese-based company producing some different pieces from things like brushless motors, MOSFETs, tracer units, and they've just come out with some 40mm MOSFET bits and pieces as well. Some of the stuff they're bringing out is completely new to the market. Some of it's sort of their take on other products that pre-exist already. Now, T238, they were one of the first companies to bring out a brushless motor. So I thought I'd get in contact with them and see what they're all about. Now, my experience with I haven't got any experience about T238 apart from other people's posts on Facebook. Things like Kingdom of Airsoft did an article about their brushless motors in the past. And I wanted to see if they've improved on what they had previously brought to market. Now, I don't want to sort of shit on T238, but previously their brushless motors weren't the best. They're quite a lower quality, but it seems from what I've been sent that their quality has massively improved over the last couple of years. So, what I wanted to do is bring my Delta Armory Freya out. This is completely stock. I haven't opened up the gearbox or anything like that. It has had a different hot rubber placed into it, but that's a separate video, and I'll go over that and why I've done that once I've done a review video on this rifle. So, what I wanted to show was the difference between a standard motor from, say, Delta Armory, ASG and these other companies compared to what a brushless motor offers you. Now, so I'm going to do a couple of little tests for you. So I'm going to go over with two different batteries. So first battery is a Titan style. This is from a company called Eternal Power. This is a 7.4 3000 milliamp 5C dump. These are really good for long game days if you're doing sort of like the proving grounds offer like a 6-hour continuous game day. Really good for stuff like that. You don't need to change batteries. So that battery compared to something like a 20C 7.4 from Nupro. And these are sort of your standard. Most people have this either Nupro or similar style. So I'm going to go over those two batteries, what they sound like in the stock configuration of the rifle, and then I'm going to put in the brushless motor and go for it. Now, saying that, so they sent me over one of their T238 37K brushless motors and also one of their basic trigger ETUs. Talking to a couple of the guys over there, they highly recommended that if you're running their brushless motor that you use their MOSFET. And I had further chats with them and found out that the brushless motors they offer, they work with third-party MOSFETs and bits and pieces. The biggest thing you need to do is turn off the active braking on the MOSFET. That is due to the fact that the motor itself has its own form of active braking. Once those two try and work against each other, it doesn't end well. So that's what I've done. So I've turned off the active braking on the Delta for this test. So what I'll do is we'll try the Titan style 7.4. I forgot what the style of battery is they use. It's not technically a LiPo, it's something else. So to begin with, we'll use say the slower 7.4. So single shot. I'll try and do it this way, so see if you can see. And full auto. So as you can tell, that is quite slow. Anyway, we'll move that up to the slightly more powerful 25C. So single shot. auto. Right, so what I'll do, I'll cut there and we'll put the brushless motor in.
One eternity later.
Right, so I put the brushless motor into the gun. I haven't adjusted it or anything like that. I just want to get sort of a first impressions over to you guys. So going over to the Titan style battery, massive difference in the positivity on the vibration on the motor. So single shot. So that's quite impressive just to begin with, even with the slower battery, and then full auto. That's really, really good. So we'll try it with the slightly more powerful 7.4. And again, single shot. That's as you can tell, that's a massive improvement. Now, before anyone turns around and says, Dom, why aren't you using a 11.1? That's quite a simple answer. 90% of airsoft guns in the UK aren't built for 11.1s. Now, there's a common misperception that as long as it's got an ETU in there, that it is 11.1 safe, which is only partly true. The trigger contacts on a normal AEG without a MOSFET would normally burn out with an 11.1. Putting in a MOSFET, even something like the T238, and this is a very basic MOSFET, will save the trigger contacts because you've not got any in your gun. Running a 11.1 on a 350 FPS rifle in the UK, sort of standard, will occur something that is called pre-cocking, which is that the gear will spin faster than the piston can travel forward. What will happen is that you'll start stripping teeth off your piston or your gear set because the piston is catching up with the gears rotating. So I try to avoid using 11.1s unless they have been worked on by a tech, which normally means you short stroke your gear set. So if you're going over to a brushless motor like this, I very much recommend using 7.4s. I think the 20C dump from the new Pearl battery is more than enough. So, what are my thoughts on the T238 brushless motor? Now, I haven't taken it apart on camera, but taking it apart and having a look at the internals of it myself, the quality control has definitely improved from the article that Kingdom of Airsoft posted a couple of years ago. This is one of their budget friendly or their budget line motors, so if that continues across the line, which I hope it would, as you're technically paying more for the higher end stuff, then this is a phenomenal entry into the brushless motor world. There are other brands that I would like to dive into, things like Warhead and Solink have started bringing out brushless motors as well, which I'd love to get my hands on and revisit a couple of these brands which I've already had a dabble into, but revisit them for you guys so you can see differences in bits and pieces. Do I recommend the T238 brushless motor? Absolutely. For the price point that I've seen them going around for at the moment, I definitely think that's an investment that's really good for most airsofters. Compared to 4 or 5 years ago when things like the ASG 30k boost, which was very common in upgraded guns, was 40 quid, and now you're looking at 65 plus depending on the shop you go to. Spending £10, £15 more on something like a T238 brushless motor is definitely worth the extra cost. The heat that the brushless motors come out with is near to none compared to a brushed motor. Their longevity and snappiness is just better than everything else. If you're a tech savvy guy and you're asking, the Delta Armory Freyers, which is what was tested on them, have 16:1 ratio gear sets with a 14-stroke tooth piston, and this is shooting at 340-ish FPS, so not too bad. I would love to have a chrono on hand to show you the rate of fire improvement, but it's very much clearly obvious just by the audio that the rate of fire massively picks up as well. So, gonna sum up the video there, guys. I definitely recommend the T238 brushless motors. I think they're really, really good for the price point, and I hope they continue to do some more brushless motors and different products that will benefit airsofters. Thank you very much, guys.